Now, the landmark elections which were conducted in the year 1967. Why we call it as the landmark elections is that from 1952, 57 and then again in 62, we got the same party dominating the entire politics. It was also known as the Congress system rather than the political system. But now it came to a scenario that where Congress has lost completely in most of the places. Congress have lost 284 seats out of in Bihar, Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, in almost all the central provisional regions. It lost many of the seats and it became down to an opposition leader. But earlier it was a dominating party where there is no opposition at all. But now the situation of the scenario is that in Tamil Nadu we had the new party called DMK coming in with MGR, the political charisma. He grabbed the thing, and in Tamil Nadu we got the Swatantra party which is grabbed in, and again we got the Janasanghs, Jats. All these parties came together and formed the SVD government, Swatantra Vidyut Deva government, and this SVD government took over the entire thing and formed replacement of the Congress in 1967. That is the reason why the 1967 elections are very crucial and very important. All the local leaders started to influence the political scenario. Now, the other regions also have to start to think of the issues now. There are many issues which are not even yet solved. The development was not to the maximum extent as far of its excellence it was expected to be. The green revolution was done to a certain extent, but it could not reach to its success as per the requirements of the scenario. In Punjab, there was a demand for a unification capital of Chandigarh, which was a capital of Chandigarh and Haryana together. There was a rising movement that asking for Chandigarh capital only for Punjab and removing the Haryana status for that one, or the Himachal Pradesh status for that one. So in this way, another issue was growing up. And in the region of Sheikh Abdullah in Jammu and Kashmir region, who was under the house arrest, was released from house arrest. He started to asking for the Jammu and Kashmir special status. And in the Nagaland, the young leader who was in jail was also released. So he also started to question the authorities of this one. So there were many issues, many questions to be solved. In 1969, in Assam, a new state called Meghalaya was created. So there are many issues to be addressed, and we don't have a strong leader at that point of time. So who is going to solve these all issues? Who is going to take over the most crucial position now? Congress lost the elections. That was a terrific topic for the Indians, because for the first time in the history of Indian elections, Congress has lost after it got independence. So now, moving on to the scenario, in 1960, the scene was that Jammu and Kashmir, when it was incepted into the Indian Union, that is in 1948, Hari Singh was the leader, and we have the Hindu leader, but Abdullah was also a member of the Union and he was a Muslim leader. So when Kashmir was separate and it's a princely state, that he was getting out from the Hindus or the Muslims coming and attacking from the Pakistan in the border regions. So he started to ask help for the Indian government. So Indian Home Ministry made it very clear that unless and until the agreement was signed that Kashmir is going to get incepted into the Indian land or the Indian Union, we can't provide any military support from the Indian base. So in order to get this approved, Mr. Sheikh Abdullah flied over to Delhi and made the agreements between this and made sure that Kashmir would have a special status at any point of time. Their development would be par with other individuals also, and special recognition will be given to them. And the Article 370 will be made especially for the Kashmir people. After concluding all these things, they signed an agreement and Indian Army was sent there to deploy it and to stop the intrusions or intriguers of the Pakistani people entering into our land. So in this way, Kashmir got added into this. So Kashmir issue is a very serious issue, and Kashmir people have a special status of Article 370. Even today, it is a burning topic in the Indian politics of Article 370. Now, moving on to the leadership point of view, or coming back to our point of lesson, like who is going to take over the challenge after 1967? The challenge of Congress party was taken, as well as for the development of the nation was taken by Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi took over the leadership of Congress party in 1967. What happened next? Did she able to meet the success of the issue, or Congress won the elections later, or failed again? What happened next? We shall discuss now. Now moving on to the topic of Bangladesh war. The Bangladesh war also had a key impact on the Indian politics. How did Bangladesh war influence the key on the issue of Indian politics? See, actually the Bangladesh was not at all in existence at that point of time. It is the period when we were discussing is that 1970s. Bangladesh was created in December 1971. So what is the issue here now? See, India is having war with Bangladesh. Now Bangladesh is a region, now it's known as Bangladesh. Actually it is known as East Pakistan, and in East Pakistan we got the elections of Mujibur Rahman getting elected, and he is having a slight link, or he likes Indian setup. So the Pakistan government got suspected towards him and they arrested him and kept him in imprisonment. So in order to get him revealed outside, and the war was in progress, India and Pakistan were also in fighting situation. So the Bangladesh people or the East Pakistan people asked help for the Indians. What happened next? Who helped them? The issue is that Indira Gandhi came into power. Indira Gandhi came into power in 1971. She won with a massive majority of voting. Her slogan was Garibi Hatao. Garibi Hatao literally means remove poverty. Now, after this slogan in 1971, she became the unquestioned leader. She got the thumping majority of votes, and she started to take over the party responsibilities as well as the nation's responsibilities. She came up with a stunning victory, and initially she supported the war, and she asked Mujibur Rahman to be declared as the leader of the nation. And in 1971, when India and Pakistan were in the war, she attacked the Pakistan region and she defeated them. And finally she made Pakistan to agree for the separation of the state and liberation of the Bangladeshi leader Mujibur Rahman, and declared him as a leader of the Bangladesh region, and made it very clear that Bangladesh is recognized by the Indian nation, and a new independent nation was formed in 1972. So with this, the Pakistan was completely defeated and they were surrendered, and they were asked to sign a peace treaty accepting the creation of the new state of Bangladesh from their own land. So now, further we have East Pakistan or the West Pakistan. We now have only west part of Pakistan known as Pakistan region. The eastern part of Pakistan now no more is a Pakistan, it is Bangladesh region. So now let us see what happened. What are the other steps taken by Indira Gandhi? Whether she met her success or not. Now moving on to the Indira Gandhi's actual context of ruling and administration. As soon as she got the majority of the votes and she was in the power of her excellence with the slogan of Garibi Hatao, she started to bring many changes in the legislation process. She started to amend the constitution at various points of time. And when she started to amend the constitution, and in her political goals and all the issues, whatever she is maintaining, whatever her promises are to be fulfilled, she made a promises which cannot be reached by her at any point of time. And she is having very limited powers in the constitution what she can do. So she started to change them and amend them. Then Supreme Court in 1973, against the case of the Kesav Chandra Bharati case, clearly mentioned that the basic structure of the constitution cannot be amended at any point of time, even though you have the complete majority in the parliament. The Supreme Court statement became a nod for the central government, that is the Indira Gandhi's government, that she can't change the constitution as if then and when she wants. She has to change only on certain aspects. The main key aspects cannot be changed at any point of time. And one more issue what raised or brought back Indira Gandhi down to the situation is that in 1973, in the same year, there was a conflict between the Arab and Israeli group. In the Arab and the Israeli group, when they were in the war between each other, because of the war, the oil supplies were blocked. The oil prices went on to be hiked. When the oil prices are at hike, automatically the reserve petrol prices will be hiked in our nation, which resulted in the cost production of every item to be reached to the double of its cost. So when the situations went out of her control, and the promises what she made of Garibi Hatao became a problematic for her, she could not control the oil prices because of the international issue which is happening in the world of Arab and Israel. Now what is the solution that she is going to get out of this? Because it is clearly proven from 1973 that she can't control the oil prices. If oil prices are not controlled, the petrol prices cannot be controlled. If petrol is not controlled at any point of time, the day-to-day activities of the common man is going to get affected with this. So what would be the other scenario? the scenario became completely clear. She has literally failed to stop the oil prices hikes, and that resulted in the petrol prices hikes, and all the other prices and the commodities prices have been hiked. So what would be the situation of this? We'll discuss this. So when the Arab-Israeli conflict was raised in 1973 and the oil prices went on to its hike, and people started to recognize that Indira Gandhi could not meet the requirements. So we got a leader emerging out of this called Mr. JP. The full form of JP is Jayaprakash Narayan. This Jayaprakash Narayan was initiated to tap the movement in all the regions that the dissatisfaction against the Congress was to be created, and he was in Gujarat, his main role was in Bihar, and in all the North Indian states they started to consider him like he is going to be the alternative for the government and he is going to question the other issues. So in the elections of the next elections in 1977, the Congress lost its elections clearly because of Indira Gandhi could not able to control any of the steps, and finally JP becomes the Prime Minister of India with the Janata Party as a power. Now moving on to this, what happened next for us after Jayaprakash Narayan has taken over the position? Did Congress immediately went for elections or any other breakups were added for this? Because Congress, Indira Gandhi is very clear that there is dissatisfaction in the people. So what is the next step taken by Indira Gandhi? The very crucial and the dangerous step, wherever India had ever seen such kind of step, or for 20 months India was in the darkness or on the black rule. What is that one? Even Americans got scared of it. What did she do in that period? What made her to feel like this? Let us discuss about it.